Good morning, bitches. It is a special edition of Bitches Get Stuff Done. We are here with guest host Nikki. Blythe has been so busy on the campaign trail, I can't pin her down because her schedule is insanity. So Nikki is coming in today, clutch, to talk about this huge issue with Dr. Ian Roberts here in Polk County. And I know it's hyper localized, but it's so important to everybody around the nation because this is going on everywhere. So Nikki, tell us about yourself and what your connection is with Dr. Ian Roberts, the superintendent of schools in Des Moines Public School System.
Yeah, absolutely. So my kids are in this school system. I have gone to different planning sessions with Dr. Roberts, specifically ones related to how he was really the driving force into getting preschool offered for every single kid and knowing the great outcomes that those provide. So he was a huge champion for that. My husband works for DART and also Dr. Roberts has been a big force for DART's partnership with the Des Moines Public Schools. And yeah, my kids go there, so I can speak from a firsthand experience on what the schools are like and Dr. Roberts' influence.
Yeah, so I guess that's a good point. Dr. Roberts just came to Des Moines 2 years ago. And before that, we had, of course, a Caucasian middle-aged white guy as the superintendent. And before him, we had a woman, but then they booted her out because of some kind of sex scandal. So it's just nonstop drama at the Des Moines Public Schools. But this one is over and above anything else. Because if you're not familiar with the story, first of all, you're clearly hiding under a rock. You really should get out and touch grass. But this one, they stopped him on Friday. They, being ICE agents, stopped him on Friday. And I guess they said that it was going to be a routine traffic stop. That's weird to me because that's not their job, right? That's not what ICE does. So then they said he ran. Well, I would freaking run too, okay? But I wouldn't run as good as Dr. Roberts because he was a freaking Olympian. So I just picture it in my head, Nikki. I picture him running and these ICE agents like out of breath, like.
Well, I did think they were in vehicles, but the whole thing here, though, this is all what ICE is saying. So to be honest, I'm taking this with a huge grain of salt because I feel like the entire story could be fabricated.
Absolutely. We have no evidence of any of this. They're saying he took off in his car. Where's your dashboard cam? They say he took off on foot. Where's the body cam footage of him taking off on foot? Where's the body cam footage of them apprehending and taking him in? Where's the proof that he even had a removal order? Where's any of this? If that's cut and dry, that's easy.
I mean, and there's cameras everywhere, right? So even if they don't want to turn in any existing or non-existing body camera, I mean, this area he's at, I mean, there are cameras. I just feel like people feel like maybe they're being silenced. I mean, why are we not getting more information about this?
Absolutely, 100%. And he did have his house ransacked by the cops on Friday night. And we have footage from the neighbors' Ring doorbells. Yes. And the media has been calling me to ask me about him, and I don't live in his neighborhood. I don't make any money, so I just got him from a.
They broke security cameras. Is there any truth to that? I didn't read in detail.
Yeah, he had security cameras all around his house. Now we know why, because he was rightfully paranoid that someone was out to get him. But he had cameras all over the place, and one of his neighbors went around his house and took video of all the cameras that were broken. Like literally broken off of the house. Like someone whacked them and broke them off the house.
Okay. Wow.
And just because I've got a tip and I have that footage and I have the pictures of the cops at his house, doesn't mean I took it. So the Des Moines Register called me yesterday and they're like, one of the neighbors said that they saw a redheaded TikToker somewhere in the neighborhood.
Oh my God.
No, they did not. They did not see a redheaded TikToker because it was not me.
I mean, you've been at all these protests all over the state. You were definitely not around even, so.
Right. I don't even know where Dr. Roberts lives. I just know it's a swanky little joint because he did make almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made almost $300,000 a year, so it makes sense to me.
You know, yeah.
Which makes it not that uncommon to be carrying around large amounts of cash because people with money do.
I mean, again, according to ICE, I want to like put an asterisk on every single bit of this information. This is what ICE said. Like, why do we believe you? Why do we believe ICE? You go after people who are here legally every day. There's dozens and dozens of videos produced every day of them attacking people who are legally. And I mean, to be honest, attacking people in general. I mean, they're a hit organization. They're a terrorist organization, and they have zero credibility. They're hiring people off the streets. They do barely any kind of, application review process. They're just getting all these folks who, have temper issues and could not be hired anywhere else. And so these are the people that are spreading this story. And honestly, my people that I care about that, I know support democracy and are good people, they're saying, oh, well, this happened and this happened. And I keep saying, that's what ICE says. Like, the only source is ICE. And even though these outlets all over the country are repeating it, they're not doing investigative journalism. They're not looking into it themselves. They're literally regurgitating what ICE says. So I hope we all can just take a step back and be like, look at the source. The source is not a trustworthy source.
Right. Absolutely agreed. Yes. God, I just saw a video yesterday of somebody taunting ICE agents on his bike, and then them end up running after him, like, to capture him. And that was hilarious. That's what I envisioned Dr. Roberts. If Dr. Roberts ran, it's kind of like he was on a bike, and they're like, I can't keep up. That's what I envisioned. Now, whether or not it's true, I don't know. But I went down a rabbit hole, too, of someone somewhere, if he did overstay his visa, which is what ICE is saying, and we have no evidence, but if he did overstay his visa, someone somewhere already knew that. And this feels so much like a calculated political hit.
Right.
And there's so much to gain from arresting the supervisor of the largest, most diverse school system in the state right now.
Timing. Yes, the right now is a huge part of it. It seems very calculated and evil.
Yeah. And even the Friday part was calculated. Everybody knows you drop press on a Friday if you don't want anything to happen with it. So, or if you don't want people to pay attention. Everybody knows that. So you drop this on a Friday. We didn't know until Friday afternoon at 1:30, 2 maybe. And so by 4, we had a great protest going downtown, and then you were going to Pottawatomie County to protest. So we had our ducks in a row by then. But normally nothing would happen, and then Saturday and Sunday, nobody's working. Right. So you can't even verify anything that ICE is saying. And it's a nice little buffer where they can get out all the misinformation.
Exactly. Control the narrative. And,
Absolutely.
To your point and what we were saying about the timing, like, oh, weird. We just voted that we're just going to be voting on a bond referendum that's going to support Des Moines Public Schools. So it puts that in jeopardy. Oh, weird. Jackie Norris, the head of the Des Moines School Board, is actually running for Joni Ernst's position in the Senate. It couldn't be a more strategic hit. So it's very hard to believe that this was just in their normal process of terrorizing people and ruining communities. It seems very strategic that they went after Dr. Roberts at this time.
Yeah. And that's not even just to mention that they just defunded schools by having all of these public schools have money taken away from them for private school vouchers. And Kim Reynolds making it a point to say that they were going to fully fund, oh gosh, what kind of schools are those that they're going to fully fund next year? Not private schools.
Charter?
Charter schools, thank you. Going to fully fund charter schools starting next year. Well, where are they getting this money? Oh, from public schools. Right.
Public schools, taxpayers. So the line item budget for vouchers is now exceeding $1 billion of Iowa taxpayer money. But there's no cap. They voted, there's literally no cap. So it can completely bankrupt Iowa. And it has in other states, I believe Arizona, and I think another Republican state as well. They know that this is completely harmful to states, but we're going to keep staying the course because I guess that's what the Koch brothers, the Heritage Foundation, everybody's evil plan is. They don't care about people. They don't care about what's happening with our tax money. And what we're learning, what we see now that we've been able to research the results of these freaking vouchers, it goes to the families who already have their kids in private schools. The vast majority of them, that's where the money's going. And then the private schools turn around and they raise their tuition. And so really they're the ones making the money, and there is zero accountability. This is also, I think, the only thing in the budget for Iowa. There's no accountability. They don't have to show what they're doing with the money. They don't have to show any outcomes. Public schools, however, who get public funding, have a huge bar that they have to meet, and they have to be transparent and do reporting, and they have to accept every kind of kid. Private school, they don't like your kid, bye-bye. They don't have to abide by any rules. So anyway, kind of a tangent, but one that's very frustrating.
It's an important tangent because it's about following the money. And this is 100% following the money. They don't have accountability. So we don't have an auditor that oversees where they're spending their money. It ends up being just a huge cash cow for not just the families that are sending their kids, but the private schools. And the special interest groups and the politicians, the elected officials themselves, often have a financial interest in these private schools. Always follow the money because that's where it's at. And that's why one of the reasons why they stripped authority from Rob Sand, the auditor, so that he couldn't oversee these schools.
Yes. Well, and my understanding is that there's literally no accountability in place. Like even Republicans are looking into it. It's literally the handout. Like, here's your $7,000 or whatever it is per kid. Here you go. Here you go. It's just giving money. And the goal with this across the country, not just here, is to dismantle public schools. So
100%.
That is the goal. How perfect. Go after Dr. Roberts. He's Black. He's successful. He runs the largest school district in Iowa. What a target. So it is really hard to believe that ICE is on the up and up with any of this information when it is just fits perfectly into their evil plan for how to dismantle public schools.
And let's not forget the other very, very important part. He refused to allow ICE in the schools to arrest children or their parents. Right. So every time ICE would come in the area, they couldn't go into our schools. If he's gone, chances are you're going to replace him with some boring white guy who's like, yeah, that's cool. Go ahead, arrest whatever kids you want in the Des Moines Public Schools, the most diverse school system in the state.
Yeah, I certainly hope not. And I know at least one school, Belmont in Iowa, had to go into lockdown mode because of ICE presence in their community. So it's very scary. You know, I have this morning at breakfast, my 11-year-old is aware what's happening with Dr. Roberts and said, I'm very scared ICE is coming into our school. What do I tell him? You know, I was like, I don't think they are, you know, I mean, I don't want him to sit there in fear all day. And he presents white. So, you know, and he's concerned for his classmates. So it's a chilling effect. It's terrorizing. It is just tearing apart our community. Everybody's upset. I cried for days about Dr. Roberts. I mean, not just him personally, which did affect me, but just the idea that they're coming this direct personal shot right into our community to attack one of our best and most beloved leaders.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you mentioned that he brought pre-K to everybody. I assume in Des Moines Public, but it could be throughout the state. I'm not sure. Regardless, he's making real genuine change and change in a really hard time. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. It's so hard right now in the state of Iowa for education. We used to be the number one in the nation. Oh. Not anymore.
That's been out the window. I mean, some of the ratings for U.S. World Report, this was a year or so ago, but we're seeing that our high schools were now like 43rd. I mean, we are really it's a race to the bottom with education in Iowa. I also, unfortunately, think that's a strategic thing from Republicans too. They don't want educated people. They want sheep. They want people who are just going to like be convinced by whatever rhetoric they have going, and they're, you know, easier to manipulate that way. So it's just a really, really depressing state of affairs.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't have an education, people can control you much, much easier. And they've been defunding education since the 80s, since Reagan. So this has always been strategic. It's been going on for a long time. It's not like they just pulled this out of their butt. But the timing of this particular issue is perfect. And God, I hate to do conspiracy theory stuff, but if it's not a conspiracy, why does it look so much like a conspiracy?
And on so many levels, you know, it's not just the school board chair is running for office. You know, it's not just that there's this bond referendum. It's not just that he's Black, that he's successful. It's just like, wow, just really going for the jugular on going after Dr. Roberts. So until I see footage, I don't believe anything that ICE is putting out on this.
And we didn't even mention that Kim Reynolds is not running for re-election. We know that she's wanted a place in the administration for years, and she has yet to make the cut. Yep. If schools are allowed to start arresting, or ICE start allowed to arrest kids at school here in Des Moines, that would definitely suck his butt. So would she be more likely to get a spot in his cabinet? Maybe.
Absolutely. Ugh, I didn't even think of that. The more you look at it, the more ugliness you can see coming out of it. But you're probably onto something, unfortunately.
I mean, and if we had a removal order, where is it? It's Tuesday now.
I know. These are supposed to be tangible, physical documents. Like, where are they? Where can we see that?
Right. How hard is it?
I guess when they don't exist, it's pretty hard.
And one part that's really just bit my butt the whole time is ICE saying that he was, carrying a weapon on him. He had a knife. Weapons in schools here are legal for educators. Republicans made sure of that. So if you're an educator, you can pack heat and not even have to tell anybody. That was part of the law. You don't even have to tell your students or the parents. You just need to make sure that the principal knows so they don't shoot you when the cops come in and try and figure out who the gunman is.
Well, and you're probably more educated on that than I am, Heather, because I read somewhere that it was a law proposed by Republicans that maybe didn't pass, and then that the Des Moines school policy, like in their language, they talk about not carrying guns. So to be honest, it's a little bit of a gray area for me, so I don't really know, but I will say they have this photo of a gun that they said they found, I don't really believe it. I mean, someone said it's actually a starter pistol for running. I don't know what different guns look like. But the fact that we're getting these random things that are always incriminating Dr. Roberts, but we can't get what what ICE is saying. We can't get any of that physical evidence. It's pretty sketchy.
That's a good point. I did not know that someone said it might look like a starter pistol, because I don't know what a starter pistol looks like.
Yeah.
And that would actually jive with him being an Olympic runner and him being into physical fitness. That would jive with that. But I honestly don't know. And either way, there's absolutely a concerted effort to make him look like this black thug that's out dealing drugs or something.
Yes, guns, cash, whatever, fit the narrative, but no proof, no proof.
And I went yesterday, I was looking at my Facebook yesterday, and I scrolled down and freaking Fox News was on my feed. And I don't know why, because I should not be in their algorithm. But in a way, I'm kind of glad, because I looked at the spin that they're giving, and they've got this older picture of him with his hair in plaits.
Yeah.
So people are making fun of his hair because he's very dark skinned. And they're like, what has he got in his head? Toilet paper? What? I mean, like all kinds of racist tropes all the way down. And I took several screenshots of it. I was planning to make some content on it later, because that is what Fox News is feeding them, is this old picture of Dr. Roberts in plaits, and then all these racists just jumping on and saying, well, of course, are you surprised? This is what you can expect.
Yeah. It is disgusting. I unfortunately got really sucked into all these Republican feeds regarding this, and the level of just, out and out racism. I mean, there were many comments about get back in the fields. You should be, picking cotton. I mean, I don't even want to repeat it. One thing I would ask to your listening audience, Heather, is there's so much research saying that we need to combat misinformation. If we don't, it spreads and it gets worse. And even though I probably spent about 7 hours over the course of the past 2 days out there combating this information, even though it feels very hopeless, I think it's important, because there is also research saying that people get their news from social media, and that even if people aren't really liking or hearting your posts, they're reading it. And there's a lot of, research evidence now with social media that that's happening. So I would ask, if anyone has any time on your hands, and it will be icky and make you feel uncomfortable, but to go into these cesspools and to just try to be that person, you can copy and paste some things. But just, we have to keep pushing back against it because it's that narrative is really taking over. And we have to, unfortunately, stand up to it. So
that kind of jives with the program you were trying to spearhead, right?
yes.
Where you're trying to spearhead a social warrior, maybe social
Media mavens. I mean, yeah, whatever you want to call it, but yes.
Yeah, social media mavens, where you'd get online and you'd see misinformation and then you just counter it with facts.
Yeah.
And what was the study that you saw that somehow it makes a difference or something
Absolutely.
like that?
I mean, there's now a lot of studies. The one I just posted to our chat group, Heather, it's from the National Institute of Health, before it was run by a psychopath, where they talked all about misinformation and that, stopping it, combating it. And not only is it effective, but it stops the spread of it. So there's many studies. I mean, if you just start Googling, you'll see it's been clearly proven that it works. It did make me I literally got a headache. My head was hurting after it. So I'm not saying that this is the most pleasant, especially if you go into these cesspools. But even if you're in something where, there's some really right-wing comments and then some sane comments, just to be combating those right-wing ones, you don't have to go into the Fox News and the Steve Bannons of the world. Oh yeah, I could get into this whole tangent about what Steve Bannon was saying and how he had a Moms for Liberty person and they were all commenting about this, about Dr. Roberts, but that might be for another.
Oh God, I missed that entirely.
Really bad. So he said
I really didn't miss that.
Less than 30% of the kids in Des Moines public schools are literate. So.
Oh my God.
And then Steve Bannon kept saying it was Omaha. I'm like, yeah, these people are really informed. So.
Oh my God. He's saying we're illiterate and he doesn't know the difference between Des Moines and Omaha.
Yes.
Wow. Well, you and I know the difference because we both traveled there over the weekend.
Been spending some time in these places, so.
Right.
Yeah.
So we had a protest here on Friday in Des Moines, and you were in the Council Bluffs protest because that's where we thought Dr. Roberts was going. But they clearly saw that there were people organizing in Council Bluffs, so they changed their mind and made him go to Sioux City. But I went with Brandon up to Sioux City on Saturday, and then they had another protest on Sunday, another protest yesterday, Monday. I think they can plan to continue, even if they're small protests. It matters.
Yes, it's visible. It gets the news attention. I will say, I am getting more and more concerned about the media and how fearful they seem to be getting about what they want to report and say. For instance, in Potawatomi County, the jail there, where they said, it was an official, we saw screenshots that is where the government said he was. So either they were lying. I think they were, because I physically was there. I drove right there. There was no indication. There were nothing. Everybody was just in chillax mode that worked there, that were walking around, very calm, peaceful. There were protesters because they said that's where he would be. And then I did quite a long interview with the local news station, and I tried to make a note of who they are because it's a sister station to KCCI. Okay, the news station was KETV. I think the reporter I was talking to felt it was, really an important message to have. It never came out. As far as I can tell, it did not get any traction. It didn't get, KETV, they withheld it. And I think it's because I was giving a really positive account of how Dr. Roberts really, exists in the Des Moines public schools. So it just makes me really concerned when journalists are getting scared and all these fear tactics are working. It's only gonna give Republicans more power and hurt our country even more. So I think we have to be brave. It is scary. Lots of things are scary, but we have to just keep pushing forward.
Yeah. And my experience wasn't really with the media. They've pretty much, as far as I know, have ran pretty much everything I've given as far as interviews. But my experience in Sioux City was weird because we were met with barricades at the jail, barricades, like huge barricades all the way across the front of the jail, all the way to the back of the jail. They had cars lined up. Everything was barricaded off. And on the roof of this new jail, it's a brand spanking new facility, were sharpshooters. And I've never encountered that before. The only time I've ever seen sharpshooters at an event I went to was when Barack Obama came to Iowa campaigning for a Hillary Clinton. It was Michelle Obama. And there were sharpshooters on the roof. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. He's the president or she's the first lady or whatever it was. I've never seen anything like this, where there were maybe 24 old white people. There were a handful of native people, but mostly white people, just regular people with signs, very chill, very, like, hey, Heather, lead us in some chants. And I'm like, fuck, what chants do I lead? It was very laid back because it was just a couple of dozen of us and a weird guy in a U-Haul. But I just thought it was overkill. They didn't have any cops out front, just sharpshooters on the roof. So what were we going to do? Storm the Capitol?
I saw those photos, Heather. Thank you. I'm so glad you documented it because a lot of people questioned it, but it's clearly happened. And it's one thing to have sharpshooters when you have a president that is visiting. I mean, that's standard policy. Like that happens when any president, there's always sharpshooters if they're speaking outside. To have those folks on the roof to shoot protesters? Like what in the hell? I mean, this is where the Republicans, the GOP, they have taken us to this, where we're going to have protesters, in the crosshairs, literally in the crosshairs of guns, trying to just exercise their rights that have been protected for 300 plus years under the U.S. Constitution. Like this country is, it's going downhill fast, unfortunately.
Oh my God, yes, we're there. When people are like, oh, I think we're getting to fashion. No, we're there. We're there.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, let's take a quick break and then we'll come back and talk about how you can get active in your areas and how you can stay informed.
Bitches Get Stuff Done is brought to you in part by Blythe Potter, seeking the Democratic nomination for Indiana's Secretary of State in 2026. Blythe wants to increase voter turnout as well as voter registration and use the NBiz website to help share and teach sustainable business practices for the business leaders in Indiana and bring boring back to the Secretary of State's office. Blythe needs to raise about $10,000 a month to try to flip Indiana's Secretary of State office blue. And remember, turning a red state blue benefits the entire country, even if you can't vote for us. To donate, visit BlythePotter.com. Paid for and authorized by Friends of Blythe Potter. Use of military rank titles or photographs in uniform does not imply endorsement by the Department of the U.S. Army or Army Reserves or the Department of Defense.
Bitches Get Stuff Done, the podcast, is brought to you in part by Fight Like a Bitch, a guide to fighting fascism with guerrilla activism. Available now at the website bitchesgetstuffdone.org. Okay, guys, we are back, and we're still talking special edition with Dr. Ian Roberts, Superintendent of Des Moines Public Schools, who was arrested by ICE on Friday. We are recording this on a Tuesday, so this is as much information as we have to date. There's still a lot of questions out there that we do not have answers to that could be answered easily, but we don't have the answers. So until then, I do know that tomorrow, which is October the 1st, there is a protest at the Federal Building again. I want to say it's 5 o'clock. Is that what you've heard as well? 5 or 5:30?
Different ones. I don't know. I can kind of look it up while we're talking here and see. But
well, it's either 5 or 5:30. That I'm confident of. Either way, if you showed up at either of those times, there's going to be people there. Yeah. He's gotten a lot of support. Whatever ICE puts out there, like Nikki said, I don't believe it. There's a lot of it I don't believe. There's been so much untruthiness all the way around everything, not just Dr. Roberts, but everything with ICE and their actions and their complete lack of morals and scruples. You just have to question everything.
Absolutely. And just one more comment on the protest for if people are trying to get there, it's the Neal Smith Federal Building, right? On Walnut. Is that
correct? And Neal is spelled Neal.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I hope more people can make it. I think that we just have to keep taking to the streets and show people we're mad. I think it also shows Republicans that, they should be fearful. There's a reason they stopped showing up to interact with their participants for years now, because people are so angry at the terrible, terrible job they've been doing. And a protest gives that visibility. It shows we are here, we're angry, and it helps empower other people. People are like, okay, these folks are out there. They're saying things that are important. I'm going to start paying attention and get out there too. I talked to a good friend of mine from college on the phone yesterday. She really had no idea. She's not in Iowa. She's in another state. She had no idea some of this stuff was happening. But after our conversation, she said, oh my gosh, I don't want to look at the news, but I'm going to have to just really start to get involved. And I pray that because of work that people like you do, Heather, that empowers more people to get out, because this is the only way out.
And now that you say that too, it reminds me, Zach Nunballs did come out with a statement about this whole situation. And he said that he put in a request for information, or a Freedom of Information Act request. Bitch, anybody can do that. He's a Congress member. Get some fucking answers, you little nunballs prick.
I mean, I will say it was a little better, or maybe even a lot better than Ashley Hinson, and Feenstra. They came out with the most vicious, racist, insightful, not insightful, but like inciting violence, like making their base super angry. This just on conjecture, on, not having the facts, but just going after people in the most terrible way. I'm mortified that these people are, have been voted into office and are running for higher office. It's disgusting.
You know what? I had seen that Ashley Hinson put something out, but I did not take the time to read it.
Okay.
Clearly I need to, because Trashly Hinson needs to make a video about that.
Yes.
If you haven't been paying attention, I have a new character called Trashly Hinson.
She's amazing. She is amazing. And she plays the violin. You should tune in to see more about that from Heather. But so Polk County Democrats just released they write a newsletter regularly, and their chair called out Ashley Hinson and wouldn't even repeat in the newsletter, said, I won't even repeat what she said. It was that bad. So yeah.
What? Yes. I can't believe I missed this. Holy crap.
Take it out in a bad way.
Yeah. Oh, well, today I plan on doing mostly just videos, just different impersonation videos. Usually I will do like one a day. Like I'll get a bug on my back. I should do a Zach Nunballs today. And then I'll film it later, because I have to plan it, because the makeup alone, like I have to plan my eyebrows and my 5 o'clock shadow and my chest hair. I have to plan all of that. So I have to put them in order. Like I have one on Heather Stansel, supervisor from Madison County. I have one on Trashly Hinson to do. I have one, there's so many, and I have to plan out this order of those and which wig and which outfit and all of that. So now I'm going to have to look into.
We need to duplicate you. We need like 10, 20, 30 Heathers out there doing this. I mean, your work is so important, and I'm very grateful for all you do.
Oh my God. So yesterday I have myself Google alerted. I don't know if everybody that's listening does that, or if it's just me being psychotic, but every time something that says Heather Ryan comes up in the media, it pops into my email. So I got one yesterday that said, the Substack article that someone wrote about me that said, I am the Jimmy Kimmel of Iowa. And I'm like,
amazing. Oh,
I'll take it.
It's true. And you also have your own really distinct brand. I mean, you know what I mean? What you're doing with the actually going in full character, it's so entertaining. I mean, it is political commentary with comedy, which is very Jimmy Kimmel, but Heather, you are special. So
I'm so special. I've got to count my wigs today. People keep giving me wigs and saying, do something with this.
Amazing.
I love it. I love getting new wigs and people just saying, oh, this has been in my closet forever. I want you to have it. I love it.
Do you care if I make one quick comment before I forget?
No, absolutely. Do it.
So first of all, thank you to the Des Moines School Board. They're all volunteers. This has to be an incredibly difficult time. And I know they're being attacked. They are being attacked vehemently by misinformed Republicans. That said, I will say I'm kind of disappointed. So they've given till noon today to have Dr. Roberts come up with documentation that sort of proves his case, but we already have some of that. He submitted his Social Security card. I forget what the other piece was, but these things already exist. What I'm wondering is, why aren't we holding ICE's feet to the fire? You've made all these accusations, but we don't see anything. We don't see any proof of these documentations. We don't see that judge's order that they're saying. We don't see any of it. So I get it that the schools have to do that in some way, but I just wish it was flipped and that they said, we need by noon today for ICE to show us what they're talking about, because right now it just seems made up, instead of having it flipped the other way. But I wanted to put that out there, but I get
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. He's guilty until he proves himself innocent in this particular case.
That's what our country is supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah, so in order to even get paid in the United States, you have to provide certain pieces of documentation. Otherwise, you can't get paid over the table. So he'd have to have a social security card
yes,
and a driver license or a passport that says that he has a working visa. So there's all kinds. So them just saying he has a student visa in and of itself means that he couldn't work. A student visa is not a working visa.
and
So
the documents that he needed to work have been provided. Like, we know those things are there. So it's just like, why aren't we saying, ICE, you need to be accountable? I get it. It's the federal government. It's a total regime at this point, controlled by Nazi, Hitler, types like Trump and those folks. So anyway, it just makes me sad that we're putting the impetus or the directive on Dr. Roberts to come
right,
up with
the burden of proof on the man that's in jail.
Yeah.
Putting the burden of proof that you're innocent, even though you're currently incarcerated in a county that is 3 hours from Polk County.
All of
It is not easy to get to Sioux City, Iowa. It is a very long drive.
As spoken by someone who knows very well.
Oh my God, my butt hurt so bad by the time I got home on Sunday. Oh my God. So I went to Sioux City to protest Dr. Roberts, and then we came back to Des Moines, and then we went to Council Bluffs, the Omaha area on Sunday, and then came back. So we spent 3 hours there, 3 hours back. So that's 6 hours to 2. That's 10 hours in the car. Just, oh my God. Old people like me can't do that.
And Heather, I mean, you're doing it, this is you caring about the world and doing these things because you're passionate about it. I just hope we can all do a tiny bit, a fraction of what you do, Heather. Like, you're a role model for me and for so many others for what you do. So thank you.
Yeah. And just put a plug in there. If you feel strongly like you can't get out there and protest and do that, you can always give money to the PAC, bitchesgetstuffdone.org. Because our biggest expense by far, hands down, are travel expenses. Fuel and making sure that my car doesn't break down on the road.
Yes.
By far are the biggest expenses we have.
Absolutely. No, that's a really good point, Heather. I need to get donating to here again soon too. So,
monthly donors are some of our best donors. $5 a month makes a big difference. Just put it out there for the world to consume.
And that's true, because then you can count on it, right? Because otherwise you don't know from 1 month to the next, like how many more costumes can you buy? How much more can you travel? But like with a monthly donor, you can kind of plan.
Yeah, it makes all the difference in the world. Like when I worked in DC, I was the monthly donor specialist. I was a sustaining specialist. And if we could get even like 5% of the file on monthly donors at NARAL, we could just go all vacation in Tahiti and the money just takes care of itself. Because it really makes such a difference to know if you're going to have $40 next month to be able to get to Omaha and back. And I know that sounds silly, but it matters. It's a huge difference.
And even as a donor, it makes more sense because you're not, outlaying $100 right there. You're doing $5 a month, $10 a month. And, that's more comfortable as a donor to do too. So it's kind of a win for everybody. And
it actually adds up to be more over time. So if we would have annual donors around $35 a year, but if you get $5 a month, that's $60 a year. So it actually adds up to be more beneficial for us and usually for the donor too, because it's more budgetable.
Absolutely. I'm glad you plugged that, Heather. You need, we have to be able to support your work. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And now I don't feel so bad about plugging it. Well, also, okay, so you can get a hold of your Congress member and tell them that we want more transparency. That's something you can do to stay active. You can go to any of these protests. There's one coming up tomorrow, October 1st at 5 o'clock in the evening at Neil Smith. I'm sure there'll be plenty more, so get connected with the people that do these things. Bitchesgetstuffdone.org. We try and keep people updated. I'll be sending out an email later today about it. 5051 does, Indivisible does. All of these different organizations are active with that. Also, call people, call the governor. She clearly had something to do with this. She has so much to gain. I just don't believe she had nothing to do with it. Call your legislators, your state, local legislators. They all can get some kind of clarity if they wanted to.
Yes.
Currently, they're choosing not to.
And if it's hard for you, if you have kids at home, or it's hard for you to get around, get on your computer and fight the disinformation.
Oh my God, yeah.
That's
the easiest thing to do.
And speak up. And also there's bridge protests, which you can contact Bitches Get Stuff Done to get more information if you want to come to a bridge protest. But at this moment in time, I think after spending, some really terrible hours in those cesspools, there's a huge need for us to fight back. But anyway, I don't want to take away from what you said too. Obviously, protesting.
No, the bridge protests are important too, because you can do a bridge protest in support of Dr. Roberts even.
Yes.
You know, it doesn't have to be just our punchy little we have punchy content on our bridges, but there are all kinds of people that do bridge protests, not just us, and they range in messaging from very tepid to very punchy. And you can do anything in between or on the edges, whatever you choose. That's the benefit of bridge protesting. And so many people see it, and you find there's so much support out there for you. There's so much support out there for you.
Yes.
So now's the time to be brave, man.
Do
Say that again. I was talking to say that whole sentence again.
Oh, sorry. I'm just saying, do something, some kind of action. You know, there's a different fit for everybody, but it's there for you. Like if you're like, how do I get involved? You know, just get involved. Just take a step in any of these directions, and you feel better. It's like mental health. You know, people do the bridge protest. They come after that. They say, I just went to therapy. You know, you are like, wow, you get that community. You know, you're helping to make a difference. It feels really good too.
Well, awesome. I totally agree. Nikki, thank you so much for filling in today. Cannot tell you how much I appreciate it. Hopefully Blythe will be back tomorrow on our regular day when we record on Wednesdays. But if she's not, we'll figure something else out. We're trying to fill in as best we can right now because she's so, I think I'm busy. I got nothing on her. She's crazy busy. So hopefully Blythe will be back tomorrow. You can always find us at bitchesgetstuffdone.org. You can find Blythe at HoosierBitchesGetStuffDone.org. Our number to call or text to our Google voicemail is 515-442-0422. We do not answer that number, so just leave a message because I promise you I will probably not answer. But you can also text that number. Get on our email list, guys. Stay informed. Get on our SMS text messaging list. Whenever there's something really, really important, we'll text it out. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next time. Thank you, Nikki, for being with us today.
It was a pleasure, as always. Thank you, Heather.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.